Welcome to Soltron. This is the video review for Metal Cardbot S Rockcrush. And here's a size comparison. He's kind of in between the smallest Metal Cardbot S size and kind of the second smallest size class. Alright, and here's a look at the front of his box. And it's the artwork is pretty similar to how he actually looks, except for maybe his head's a little bit bigger in the artwork, and his head has like a little bit more character to it. But that's a pretty good representation of what you actually get. You can't do this pose though, because the elbow joints don't work that way. But yeah, that's what he looks like. And then his instructions are like the glossy, kind of black and white instructions. And here's the 360 view of this guy, and he looks... actually, I kind of hate it. He's just very bland. There's just really nothing going on. He does look like kind of a Chinese knockoff robot. He just does not have any real style to him, to be honest. He's just very generic looking, just like blocky, has treads on his legs, just regular robot looking thing. The only interesting aspect, the only real style he has is the drill chest and then the drill arms. But other than that, he just looks very plain. So not into this one. I think it is interesting they give him kind of a stocky looking frame instead of making him long and stretched out or giving him long legs. So at least they tried something a little different. And then we get a close-up of this head sculpt, and you can see he does have kind of that miner kind of looking head sculpt. He's got this kind of mining helmet look, and maybe have a flashlight right here. So you kind of get that aspect carried across. Definitely would have been cool if he had like an interesting laser pickaxe or something. But the only other accessory he has is kind of this spike chest, which is kind of cool actually. I think his chest armor does look pretty good. It does make his chest stick out a lot, but I mean from the side this guy really looks like nothing anyway, so it doesn't really hurt the way he looks. But his head gets so buried in here you can't even see it from most angles. But he does have like this ball joint neck. He's got the 360 on the shoulders on a nice spring ratchet. He's got the spring ratchet for outward motion. You're going to run into his chest spikes a little bit, or shoulder spikes. He does have like 45 degrees on the elbows. This drill bit actually gets in the way. He does have rotating bicep, but again the drill bits are going to get in the way. I guess he's kind of cool if you hold him this way. If you rotate this way, then it looks like he has two giant drills for arms. That's kind of cool looking. He does not have wrist rotation. He does have a nice spring-loaded waist. If you can get, he does have outward motion on the shoulders. I can't remember if I said that. He does have universal hips that go in pretty much all directions. His giant knee pad kind of gets in the way forward. And then he does have like double jointing knees because of transformation. So he's got a lot of expression on the legs. And then he does have like a little bit of ankle tilt. At least that's there. That's nice, even though it's not that much. So you can maybe get some interesting posing out of him. You can't really have him look around too much with all this junk on his head or around his neck. But I guess having the drills out like this, that looks... no, that does look stupid. I don't know. Yeah, he's just kind of too chunky. Like, you can't really get a good pose out of this guy. This helps getting his chest out of the way so you can actually see his head. That doesn't hurt at all. Maybe you can get like a cool kneeling pose, I guess, out of him, like maybe drilling in the ground, kind of pile drivers style. But yeah, this chest is of course his card. So you just point the drill bits up. It's very complicated to transform actually, and then you take off these side sections, and then you open up this and fold that down. And then you're going to take the whole drill section, and then that's going to rotate all the way over here. And then this is going to rotate, oh no, fold these black panels in all the way. Then you can rotate these all the way down. Then you're going to take the big drill bits and rotate those all the way back here. Wow, that is so much transformation just for his metal card. And it actually looks very cool like this. And then you got his artwork, Rockcrush, and then the insignia on the back. And of course, that's just going to peg right here. And then you get his metal card, which is fairly compact compared to the other characters. And then I guess while we're taking things off of him, you can actually take his drills off. It's pretty easy. I do it by accident when I'm transforming him. So they are on this like spring tab. So just go ahead and yank those off. And this is what he looks like without his drill bits. And as you can see, he looks completely generic, just red, blue. He looks like he would just be like a bad guy in a Mega Man game or something. Not even one of the bosses, just one of the generic enemies that attacks you with a giant drill. You can kind of do a nice thing where you combine the two drill bits. So just get this tabbed back in. And then you can move this section out of the way. This is actually just to peg it into the back of his fist to stabilize it. But if you get that out of the way, you can kind of collapse his fist into this drill bit, and you get this panel out of the way. Then you can kind of sandwich both of these together now, and now you have him holding one giant drill. And I think this, oh, and he doesn't have thigh swivels either, which hurts his articulation. Because if he had thigh swivels, he might actually look kind of cool at a 3/4 pose with his legs turned out, looking like this. That actually looks pretty cool. I have to give him credit. This is actually not a bad look at all. Just having this giant drill that takes up his whole body. Pretty cool. Getting off his chest armor. And the other cool thing about this is because of that bicep swivel, you can actually get some rotation here. The outward motion is impacted by his backpack, so you can't actually use his outward motion, but you can kind of get it up and over here. So you can kind of get some kind of pose going, maybe rotating his hips. I'm really trying here. I swear I'm not just trying to trash this guy for no reason, but yeah, I wasn't planning on buying this guy, but I bought him because I wanted to do a custom, and it's not going to work out, I don't think. But I'll show you at the end of the video what my plan was. But yeah, anyway, so let's go ahead and put him back together, and then we'll get him into his alt mode, which was a little bit harder. I actually had to look it up, which has not been a thing for Cardbot before. So to get his arms ready, you're going to just collapse these on those joints and just hide his hands, which I guess that's kind of a good looking pose for him. And then you're going to rotate, you're going to flip these panels up to the tops of the shoulders. And then you can just rotate these, I think. Yeah, he's kind of confusing because, okay, if you go onto his back, his treads are here. So this actually becomes his orientation. And you gotta get these panels here like this. And then you're gonna rotate these drill bits right there. And then you kind of do the same for the other side. It's really difficult getting everything in position because these drill bits are so big. It's just hard to get the clearance that you need. Things are gonna bump into each other a little bit, and that's okay. And you just sandwich that all together. And there's the whole front half of him. And then the trick with his, you can tell where these two panels are gonna join together. The trick with his bottom half is that his knees actually bend the wrong way to get it into the correct position. So you actually need to break his legs and point his knee. So we're going to point his knees. And then these are going to rotate something like this. You kind of want to end up in this position, then the kneecaps will connect to the back of the cabin. All right, I see the issue is that there's actually these panels here that have to be opened up to give you access to this hollow gap here, and that's where the thighs are going to end up inside this gap. So you just collapse everything down in there, and then you're going to rotate these tread sections here, and those click together nicely, and then you just rotate the kneecaps up, and that's going to help click behind this cockpit section. And there you go, there's his drill tank mode. I probably made that look harder than it actually is. It's a lot easier once you realize his knees need to fold the opposite direction. But you can see another issue with this guy is this vehicle mode is also just very dull. There's just not a lot going on. I guess I kind of like the angle of these treads getting larger to the back. And I do appreciate that this drill tank actually looks like it could drill through rock and it would mostly clear a tunnel big enough for it to travel through. Most drill tanks are very unrealistic. This one actually looks, I don't know, terra-dynamic. It looks like it could actually drill through a wall and push itself through the opening. It's kind of annoying these feet don't just like fold in down here into this empty space you don't see. But yeah, he's what he is. I don't know. He's okay. I got him for about $58 on Gmarket. I wouldn't recommend this one. I think he is the weakest of the new line of Cardbots. He just doesn't have that much intrigue. There's just not a lot going on. They needed to like combine him with a dwarf or something. They needed to make him more interesting. But yeah, I'll go ahead and show you the custom idea I had. Alright, and here's the custom idea I had. So it would be heavy iron combined with Rockcrush. So I think that looks kind of cool. I don't know. It looks sort of cool. I'm just not really feeling it, so I don't think I'm going to go through with this custom. But that's the reason I bought Rockcrush when I said many times that I never would. So there you go. All right, hope you like that one. I'll see you in the next one.